Now that it's been almost 2 months since the release of Forza Horizon 6, after spending dozens of hours in it, seeing every season and exploring the entire map, I still get a ton of enjoyment every single day when I launch the game, because in my opinion, it's the best game in the series. I consider myself to be a fan of Forza Horizon series because I've played almost every single game in it. I started with the very first Forza Horizon game on the Xbox 360 when I was just a kid driving through the roads of Colorado. Then came the second Horizon with its incredible atmosphere of the Italian and French coastline. The only one escaped was Forza Horizon 3 was Australia, but I don't think that's really a big deal. I truly fell in love with the series when Forza Horizon 4 came out. It's a game that many people still consider the best in the franchise, and I completely understand why. I loved it too because, just like in every new Horizon before it, it took a huge step forward compared to its previous game. Then Forza Horizon 5 was released, taking us to Mexico. For some reason, it's become now quite popular and common to hate this game nowadays. Although, in my opinion, it was a great game. Yes, it had its own flaws, but Forza Horizon 4 had them too, and we'll talk about those later. But the important thing is that Horizon 5 once again improved the series in many aspects and became another step forward. And now Forza Horizon 6 has arrived, taking us to Japan. After playing it, I realized that, personally, I don't think it could have been done any better. In my opinion, this is the best game in the series that has been awaited for a long time. Does it have flaws? Absolutely it does, because no game is perfect. But are they serious enough to outweigh all its strengths and keep repeating that it used to be so much better in the past? In my opinion, not at all. For me, Forza Horizon has always been about the freedom of an open world that you can enjoy while driving hundreds of different cars. For me, Forza is all about the atmosphere, where you can peacefully cruise down the roads, take part in events, find an interesting race, or tune your car into something that would never be possible in real life. And Horizon 6 does all of that better than any previous game. Japan is, in my opinion, the perfect setting, and the way the developers brought it to life here is just perfect. Those of you who played Forza Horizon 5, or at least know the game, probably remember how much people hated, and still hate it, its bland and flat map that just wasn't interesting, right? Well, Horizon 6 completely fixes it. We finally have the modern big city everyone wanted, something we hadn't seen since Horizon 3. We have forests, mountains, fields, beaches, small villages, and even multi-level highways built for hypercars. It feels like Horizon 6 took the very best parts of every previous game and combined them into one massive map that is, by the way, 25% larger than the previous one we had in Forza Horizon 5. And thanks to its size, it doesn't feel like only one type of car is fun to drive. Today, I might feel like driving hypercars, right? So I'll grab a Koenigsegg and head onto the highways that circle the entire map. If I feel like drifting, I'll take my Supra and drive through the winding mountains road of Japan, right? If I want some rally action, I'll jump into my buggy and race through muddy forest trails. The map genuinely feels massive, and every region is so different from the others that even after dozens of hours in the game, I still haven't explored every corner it has to offer. In Horizon 5 and even Horizon 4, it was often felt like you had already seen almost everything after only a short time. Here, that's simply not the case. And overall, the atmosphere is incredible. It genuinely feels like I'm in Japan, from the architecture of the cities and villages to the surrounding of nature. It doesn't feel like they simply threw a bunch of different biomes together like they did in Horizon 5 and said, "Here, go drive around." Honestly, if someone dropped me in Horizon 5 without telling me it was Mexico, I probably wouldn't have guessed right away that it was Mexico. But even such an amazing map wouldn't have made the same impression if it wasn't for another feature that completely changes the way you experience the open world in the series. And that's the seasons. When the seasons were first introduced in Horizon 4, it was one of the most interesting ideas the series had ever had. But at the same time, it was also one of the most criticized. During winter, there was so much snow that driving many sports cars became almost impossible. Because of that, the seasons had a real impact on the gameplay, and not everyone liked it. I was one of the people who criticized it. After seeing that reaction, the developers went in the opposite direction with Horizon 5, and made the changing seasons almost unnoticeable. Technically, they were still there, but in practice the game barely changed at all. And once again, the fans were left disappointed. In my opinion, Horizon 6 has finally found the perfect balance in the seasons. During winter, the map is actually covered in snow. In autumn, the roads are covered with yellow leaves and the trees turn yellow and orange. In spring, everything blossoms, and in the summer, the world looks as bright and sunny as possible. But the most important part is that none of these seasons break the gameplay anymore. You can still jump into your favorite supercar or hypercar and drive around as if nothing has changed, without worrying that it's the wrong season and that you'll end up in a ditch on the very first corner. And that's exactly what I think the right approach is. The seasons should change the atmosphere of the game but not limit the player. They make the map feel alive. For example, the same exact road that I drove on the week ago now looks completely different, and that constantly creates a feeling of freshness in the game. And that's why I don't really understand the people who now say Horizon 4 had a much better winter because there was tons of snow and the lake froze over, while Horizon 6 is trash because it doesn't have that. After all, those were exactly the things that Forza Horizon 4 was criticized for back then. And it feels like over the years, many players have simply started confusing nostalgia with an objective opinion. For me, Horizon 6 didn't abandon the idea of seasons like some Horizon 4 fans claim. It improved it. It took one of the best mechanics in the series and finally refined it to the point where it adds the game instead of getting in the way. But it doesn't really matter how beautiful the map is or how atmospheric the seasons are, because it's still not enough to make me come back to the game every single evening, even though the map makes up about 70 to 80% of the entire game. Because what's the point of having a huge open world if there is nothing to do in it besides simply driving around? And this is where Horizon 6 finally rewarded its progression. For the first time in a long while, I genuinely felt like the series had the progression again. In fact, it reminded me a lot of what we had back in the very first Horizon game with the wristband system. The problem with Horizon 4 and Horizon 5 was that they unlocked almost everything right away. After a short prologue or a few races, you gained access to nearly every race and most of the activities in the game. And on top of that, you could jump into a hypercar and use it almost everywhere. Because of that, the feeling that you were actually achieving something disappeared very quickly, since almost everything was handed to you immediately. But yes, Horizon 6 still doesn't stop you from buying the same hypercar during your first hour of playing, but it wouldn't let you race it. At the beginning, you're only allowed to compete in the lower racing classes, and if you want to reach the faster and more prestigious championships, you'll have to work your way up step by step by competing in lower tier races, earning new wristbands, and unlocking higher racing classes with faster cars. And that's exactly what I think the series has been missing for years. Once again, I actually have a goal in front of me. I'm not just mindlessly driving around the map because the game has already given me everything. Instead, I'm gradually building my racing career, feeling that every race victory brings me to one step closer to the next stage. And the game does a great job showing that through the point system that you can see here. And it's exactly because of things like this that Horizon 6 feels like a game you actually want to complete, instead of just launching every now and then to drive around in a few different cars for 20 minutes and exit it. And speaking of cars, I really like that Horizon 6, the developers finally listened to the fans and decided to expand the tuning system. It has become much deeper and far more detailed, and there are now many more possibilities for experiments. Whereas before you could basically throw in a handful of upgrades and be done with it, now if you want, you can spend hours perfecting a single car by adjusting every parameter to match your driving style. I've already come across videos of people who have spent well over 100 hours just trying to find the perfect setup for one specific car model. Personally, I'm not the one of those players spending hours in the garage adjusting gear ratios and suspension settings. It just isn't the most interesting thing for me that I can do. And to be honest, I'm not knowledgeable enough about cars to fully understand how every single setting affects the way your car behaves. And that's exactly why I like the fact that the game doesn't force everyone to play the same way. If you want to, you can dive completely into tuning and build an absolute monster of a car. If you don't, the community tune system that has been part of the series for years is still there. So the new system hasn't taken anything away from the casual players, but it has given a huge amount of freedom to the people who felt that previous games lacked depth. And judging by the reaction from the community that had been asking for it, they seem to be very happy with the new system. But do you know what really completes the whole picture? the visuals and the sound. Because what difference does it make how interesting the map is or how deep the tuning system is if the game can't deliver those emotions through the graphics and audio? And this is another area where Horizon 6 in my opinion has taken another step forward compared to Horizon 5. Visually the game looks even better. The overall graphics have been improved, there are more small details everywhere, the car models have been upgraded, the tire detail has been enhanced, and ray tracing has been significantly improved. It's especially noticeable on the highest graphics preset, where the most of these changes really stand out. The sound hasn't been left behind either. The developers significantly improved the car's sound design, and now the engines sound much more natural depending on their surroundings. When you're driving through a tunnel, for example, or down narrow streets between the tall buildings, the sound echoes beautifully of the environment, creating a satisfying reverberation. They may seem like small details, but they're exactly the kind of things that make the game much more immersive and help you get even more absorbed in its atmosphere. So finally, after looking at everything the game has to offer, and everything I've talked about so far, it really feels like Playground Games have finally started listening to the community criticism. Almost every major complaint people had about Forza Horizon 4 and Horizon 5 has either been completely fixed or at least noticeably improved. That's why I can't agree with the opinion that the series is declining or has become stagnant. Personally, I think it's continuing to evolve. That's also why I can agree with people who say that Horizon 4 was peak of the series. To me, Horizon 6 didn't just take everything that was great about the previous games. It fixed most of their problems while keeping everything that made us fall in love with in Horizon in the first place. So if you ask me today which game in the series is both the best and my personal favorite, I wouldn't hesitate for a second and answer Forza Horizon 6.